Welcome on into a new Scots Sports Show. I am your host, Tyler Trumbauer. Continuing on with Burrell Football to start today's things. And we'll recap last Thursday and talk about this Thursday in just a matter of hours for Burrell Football gets underway once again. To talk Burrell Football, to my immediate right, we have play-by-play voice Mike Fenner. And then to the far side, we have head Edinboro football coach Scott Browning. Coach, look, before we get into the Thursday night contest just hours away, looking back a week ago, visited the Gannon Gold Knights in what was an offensive shootout. 49-42 was the final score, but going into the fourth quarter, down 22 points you rattled off in that fourth quarter. What changed in that final frame?
I just think guys stepped up, made plays. As the game progressed, I felt offensively we gained more and more confidence. And, it's one of those games where you knew that the guys were going to give you everything they had. And if they do that, you have a chance to move the football and come up with some big plays. And we've got some big play people, and it's just really, I think we came into our own offensively Thursday night.
Certainly Jake Sisson, one of those individuals that really came into his own, especially in the second half. Career high in passing yards, passing touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown, ran in a two-point conversion. What'd you make of his play in really what was probably his best overall performance as a Fighting Scot?
That's the Jake Sisson we've been waiting for. And I think now he's proved that he can do it. He's a competitive kid. And he stepped up to the plate. The two-point conversion was awesome. And he hung in there, made some passes that were pretty incredible. And, it really looks bright. I've got to believe it's going to be fun to see how we play this.
Gannon front that had been 5th in the PSAC in sacks. How do you feel like your offensive line stepped up and performed up on the board?
I thought offensive line-wise, I thought one of our great respect going in for this front. And we challenged sacks. Last year we gave some sacks. And this year, right now, we're at 18. Great offensively. When I say that, though, I think that's also a compliment to receivers, which is supposed to be open, quarterback, football pressure situation, as well as the tight ends and running back.
Certainly, we will have to note because of their performances, Alex Harris and Burrell, Cory went a little bit on the show, but Bell getting the all there Thursday night, rushing over 150 yards on the ground. Got going on one target for Mr. Sisson, getting just him, 3 touchdowns, I believe, as well. What'd you make of those?
Alex has stepped up and had some good games here in the recent weeks. And, last year he was transferring in, and we thought then that we had a future. And, Cory Bell stepped up maybe with the ice weakness out of Cory, and he's always run hard. But, things went his way a little bit, and we're expecting big things out of Cory.
Although you had some really good offensive performances and you had some guys step up, in terms of being right there at the end with trying to win the game, how disappointing was it with personal foul penalties that mounted up, and then especially in unfortunately timed situations as well?
I like you say, timing situations, and I think that that could have been the difference. Defensively, we forced a fumble the last series. Had we gotten that fumble, I think we were in position to come back and tie the football game, and or even go for 2 and win the football game. But, all you can do as a program is keep fighting, keep playing hard. Eventually, those fumbles are going to come your ways. Now, the personal fouls, we control those. I'd like to think at this point in time we've got that corrected.
Hopefully got it corrected for this upcoming Thursday's contest. The last one had 3 this year, the third and final one this Thursday night. Mercyhurst comes on in, 6 o'clock kick for the annual Fighting Scots Fighting Cancer game at Sox Harrison Stadium. The Lakers coming in, still looking for their first PSAC win as well as losers of 4 straight. What do you make of the Lakers despite their skid? Might not be as indicative as what their record says.
I agree. And I think when people look at Edinboro, they say, you're not an 0-7 football team. Right. And Mercyhurst is not an 0-4 football team in the conference. They're very good. They played Slippery Rock right down to the end. They were picked 3rd in the conference. They're a good football team. They've been bugged by injuries a little bit. But the thing that amazes me, they've had some younger guys step up and really play well. And you wouldn't feel like they're missing some of the guys that they started the season off with. And, our hands are going to be full. And he who makes the least mistakes, doesn't turn the football over, makes big plays, probably the guy that's going to come out with the victory.
What did you see out of Mercyhurst in that game last week against Slippery Rock, coming out with a 14-point deficit to start? They go into the fourth quarter leading 24-21, and then the Rock rallies with 14 late points. Really good test for Mercyhurst. With that and then the Gannon game the week before, how battle-tested do you think they are with those last 2 games?
I think they're ready to go. I mean, you know, it's like you said, they were down 14-0 and put themselves in a bad situation. They come back and tie it and then eventually take the lead. So I think that tells you right there the type of kids that you're dealing with. They're going to give you 60 minutes. They're going to play hard, and you've got to plan on going 60 minutes, or it's not going to be a great ending.
Coming off that narrow defeat a week ago, do you feel your team is as motivated as ever this season to get a win? You know, you had to practice on Sunday once again with the Thursday nighter. Do you feel the team even more than they already are to get out and get a win against the Lakers?
I would like to think so. I'd like to think that we're a football team now that's developing some confidence, even though we've not won a football game. But I think we're doing an awful lot of good things. I think we continue to get better each week. I think our players see that. Our players believe in one another. And you'd like to think that, you know, the confidence will help us this Thursday night.
Going back to last year's matchup on a Thursday night with Mercyhurst, your team led at the half 10-3, limiting them to 138 total yards in the first half, trailing 17-10 in the third quarter, on the doorstep ready to score again. Although it was a 31-10 score, really wasn't indicative of the performance. And how much confidence do you think that gives? I mean, knowing that you can go toe-to-toe with this team. There's
no question you can go toe-to-toe. I think that's the PSAC. I think any school, any team, week to week can go toe-to-toe with anyone. You know, you just have to prepare. You've got to be ready to play. There's no question you can go toe-to-toe with anyone. And, you know, we just got to make sure our guys are ready to play.
And the Fighting Scots will go toe-to-toe with the Mercyhurst Lakers Thursday night, 6 o'clock at Sox Harrison Stadium for the annual Fighting Scots Fighting Cancer Football Contest. To try to make it out, support Edinboro. If you can't, we've got you covered on Edinboro Television, live on Edinboro.tv with Mike and with Mr. Fenner and myself, and then also on 88.9 Fighting Scots Radio, EdinboroNow.com, the TuneIn app, the like. Coach Brown, and good luck on Thursday.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Burrell Football Talk will continue on the other side with tailback Cory Bell. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We'll continue our Burrell Football Talk here in our next segment. Mike Fenner to my immediate right, sticking around, and to the far side, now joined by one of the two of the dual-headed tailback monster Burrell Football has. We have Cory Bell with us on the show. Cory, thanks for taking the time out for us today. Appreciate it. So, Cory, we just talked about it with Coach Browning in the last segment, the increased production from the running game this past week. It's taken a lot to get this going. Some weeks we've seen some peaks, some weeks we've seen some valleys. What do you make of the running game for Edinboro through the first 7 weeks?
It's been a struggle, not ideally what you want, but I think we have a great form with me and Jamal. Times you see him in more, or you see me in more, but I think getting the gel of things, we're looking good for finishing 4 games.
Cory, what would you say is your greatest strength as a runner, and what do you really bring to this running game that makes you best fitted to try and get those yards and to move the ball offensively?
I would say experience. Being a mid-year transfer here, being a junior, I think they brought me in here because I was more mature. I could set an example for the young kids and be more of a leader, so I think that.
Now, Jamal obviously had experience, which you say is your biggest asset in high school, running the ball. But then he came to Edinboro as a defensive player and then now has switched over to the tailback position. Have you helped him with that transition at all? And maybe your experience actually gave him experience because you could kind of shed some light on some things for him?
I would say that we both help each other out because going into spring and as well as summer, we both basically wanted to push each other because everyone wanted to start. So I think if he made a good play, then it made me want to make a good play. So I think we just push each other and support each other.
Certainly. Now, you guys don't feel there's a competition at all. You're both just complimenting each other, right? I mean, there's a friendly competition, but you don't think there's a running back competition happening, do you?
No. Of course, you're competitive because you work all year for this, but me and him are real good friends out of football and stuff, so we just want to see the best for each other.
In your first year with the Scots, what do you make of your experience so far in this football program coming in and trying to contribute now?
It's a tough conference. From what I heard playing D2, the PSAC is one of the toughest conferences. So week in and week out, you're going to have tough games, and I think it's real challenging.
Certainly. So now we talked about the Gannon game where we got over 150 yards rushing as a team, Jake being a part of that as a runner, you being a part of that as a tailback. What did you see in that game? What worked in that game that you feel needs to carry over into these final couple of contests to have sustained success as a rushing attack?
Well, as a team, I don't think we're in our final form yet. I think as the weeks go on, we get better. We didn't have our starting line in, and we had a lot of kids that had to step up, but they did a great job at that. And I think the more confidence we build, the better we'll get as we go on.
You've had a few different weeks where both units between the passing and the running were balanced. How important is having that balance each and every week when you go in and prepare, and then when you hit the field, having that balance offensively?
It's huge as an offense. You never want to be predictable, and you never want to go in so the defense can know what you're doing. So you always want to balance it out and keep them on their toes.
As a runner yourself, what do you go into a game preparing with? I mean, knowing that what you've struggled with to try to sustain success this season, to try to accomplish that each game. So when you go into this Thursday night contest, just hours away from it, what kind of is going through your mind to make sure that you can sustain success?
Just worrying about the little things, my assignments, blocking, making sure that the quarterback is safe, hitting the holes where it's supposed to be, and just worrying about the little things.
One thing for the running backs, a luxury you guys have is you got your own position coach. You have Coach Jim Henson in there. What does he do for you guys in that group, and how much does he help you guys as individuals and as a group overall?
Henson, he's a great guy. He's real funny, real cool guy. He's great with helping us learn the defense. It helps a lot when you're a running back and you learn how to read the defense. It makes your job a lot easier.
Certainly it does, Cory, and we appreciate the time, and hopefully you and Jake, he might be trying to audition for your job, because I mean what he's been doing with his legs lately, I'm not quite sure. So I think he likes being a starting quarterback though. So nonetheless, Cory, good luck Thursday night and the rest of the season, sir.
Thank you.
And the Scott Sports Show will roll along after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We move along to Edinboro Cross Country, which things are finally starting to heat up for those two squads. I am now joined by a trio representing that program today. To my left, I have head men's and women's cross coach Rick Hammer. To my immediate right, we have member of the women's cross country team, Narbuvoll, and to the far side, member of the men's cross country team, Elliot Martynkiewicz. So welcome to the Scots Sports Show, and thank you for joining me. Coach, we've had you on a couple times this year. Ida, most of the time, tagging along as well. And you said we're building for these big 3 meets. It's finally here. What does this point in the season mean for Edinboro Cross Country?
Well, it's kind of the kickoff, as you said, of those 3 meets that really matter, that we kind of tailor everything towards. On the women's side, they get to race their championship distance of 6,000 meters 3 times in a row. For the men, this is our last 8K race, roughly 5 miles. We're looking forward to having that out of the way and moving on to 10,000 meter season, which is usually where Edinboro men's cross country does their best. So.
Right, yeah. So, Ida, for you, for the women's team, you've had success this entire year, your first year in Edinboro. How do you feel now that things are getting ramped up and prime time is finally here?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I was a little bit worried last week because I caught a cold, but it's almost out of my system now. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it, and I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Great to hear you're feeling better. At least you got that out of the way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Seems like everyone's been catching that bug on campus. Elliot, for you, for the men's team, one thing Coach has been telling us is that the injury bug has been there for the men's team. They haven't just been fighting common colds. They've been fighting an array of minor injuries and haven't been able to get the full squad on the line. What is the status of the men's team right now?
Everybody's healthy now. I'm aware, as I'm aware. I think it'll be interesting to see finally the top 7 guys on the line and on race day.
Certainly. Does that now affect, like as a team aspect, if you don't have all the team players together at once, and then they finally have to go in there, it might take a while to gel. Does that matter in cross country as much? I mean, I know it helps with you guys who are in the race to maybe push each other, but does it really affect you that much who's on that line with you?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. You get used to certain faces being on the line, certain faces not being on the line. So, it's a confidence booster when you have your whole squad there and you know that you've got your best foot forward.
Right, Coach. Now that the men's team, as Elliot says, is to his knowledge, is healthy, what are your observations of the men's team now that hopefully they're going in at full strength?
Well, you know, we've kind of said all year long that we are a pretty young team. We've got 3 seniors on the squad, and then everybody else, eligibility-wise, is either a freshman or a sophomore. So there's still quite a bit of learning that's going on. I think they're learning a lot about the training necessary to be successful at this level, about racing 8,000 and 10,000 meters, and some of them are coming along really, really well with that. We'll definitely be looking to our trio of seniors to be leading us in these 3 meets that really matter, though.
Certainly. For the women's team, they've had a successful season preparation for these final 3 meets. You said on multiple occasions that you're very pleased with what they did at a meet. What are your feelings on them right now as they're preparing for the PSAC Championships?
Well, you know, we head into the championships ranked 3rd in the regional. I'm not sure I 100% agree with those rankings. As I look at it on paper, I think we're a team that's probably going to go in there and contend for the win, but it certainly won't come easily. You know, we do have a very talented front runner in Ida that'll probably contend for the individual win. On the team standpoint, I expect Bloomsburg and Shippensburg to be up there with us, as the rankings would indicate. I just don't know that they've given enough credit, the credit that I feel is due to our 2 through 5 runners on our squad this season.
Ida, Coach just said you might be the one competing there for the top title, the individual championship. What are your thoughts about that and about going into this Saturday at Slippery Rock thinking you could be the one emerging as the first one to cross the finish line?
You know, I know that I can win, but even though I know that I can, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna. But that's what I'm aiming for. It's no secret that that's what I'm aiming for, but I know I have to fight just as hard as I've done the last races. So I'm gonna fight and do my best.
Doable, but certainly not guaranteed.
No,
right.
There's no guarantee.
Running
isn't math.
Very true. There's no concrete answer there. Elliot, what are you trying to get as an answer for this Saturday? Being someone that's been through this meet a couple of times, as Coach said, you have a lot of younger teammates as well. Coming in as the experienced guy, what are you envisioning for Saturday? And is there a message you're going to share with the rest of your teammates that maybe don't have as much experience at this bigger stage?
Coming back, I was 5th last year at the conference meet, so right off the bat, I want to improve. There were 3 seniors ahead of me, so kind of gives me some leeway as to improve. But as for the rest of the guys, I'm going to tell them, hey, you know, this is a practice run for regionals. You know, conference is still important, but in the long scheme of things, it's all about making it to nationals. So
certainly, Coach. So you said this kicks off that big 3 at the end of the year. Let's rank those 3. How much emphasis are you putting onto this one? What is the preparation like this? Are you still kind of are you all focused in on this, or is you still kind of peeking towards regionals? What is the mindset going into the PSAC Championships?
Well, you know, the regional meet, to me, as the defining meet that determines the national field, has to take on the most importance, because if you don't show up on that day, then you don't earn the right to race at nationals, be that as an individual or as a part of a team. So really the meet at Lock Haven from a training standpoint, as I've kind of written everything out, is really what we have been focused on.
Right.
That being said, conference titles are important. You know, we care about trying to be conference champions, whereas at the regional meet, we simply want to advance. You can advance to nationals on either side, placing 3rd, and we'd be pretty pleased with 3rd on either side to get out. You know, we're gonna go to conference though and try to compete as best we can up front. I think our women have a very realistic chance to win. Our men in a rebuilding year, I think a good goal for us is to try and target IUP, try and beat our seeding and be maybe that 3rd place team to give us some momentum heading into the regional meet.
Certainly. Now, you mentioned this earlier, you feel the regional rankings might discredit your 2 through 5 runners on the women's side. For someone that might not know that full depth chart, if you will, of Boro cross country for the men and the women, what are some names that might be coming to the forefront this Saturday, names that you might not talk about day in and day out?
Well, you know, Emma Sullivan is, on paper, she is the top returner in the Atlantic Regional. She was 3rd last year with 2 girls ahead of her that graduated. Obviously, I don't think she's going to contend for the individual win, as we've brought in a talented freshman, Anita, and Slippery Rock has a nice graduate student running for them as well that'll probably have a 2-person race up front. But certainly, I think she's on the short list of girls that can be 3rd in that meet. Anna Hosel is right there with her. She was an all-conference and all-regional selection last year. I expect them both to be in the top 8 or 10 runners coming through that field. And then we've got a young group behind them. Abby Lang is a freshman on our squad. She was a very talented runner out of New York. She's been improving every meet, pretty much every practice. And I'm excited to see what she'll do on the Slippery Rock course. She's still a little inexperienced over 6,000 meters. They race 5,000 in high school. So, but she's learning quickly. I think she's going to do well. I'm very happy that we have Becca Bond back on our roster, racing healthy. She was very, very important to our track success last year. I believe she scored more points than anyone else on the track team at the outdoor championships. Between her individual events and relays. And just the fact that she's healthy and on the line, it's unfortunate for her. She's not going to be the runner she could have been if she made it through the season completely healthy. But as Elliot said, putting familiar faces gives people confidence. We need her on that line. And she's a big meet runner. Having her there is going to make us a better team. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait for Saturday to get here. And it looks like we're going to have some nice weather after this last weekend. So
there you go.
That'll be all right.
Got the snow last Saturday, not this time, which is what you experienced a year ago when you went to SRU for those final 3 races. A little wintry weather. So the cross country team will be making the trip. I'll be joining them down to SRU on Saturday. It should be a good time for the PSAC Championships. We'll have a recap on the Scots Sports Show next week as then they move into the regional championships. Good luck. And thanks for the time today. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
The Scots Sports Show rolls along after this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. Continuing along now with Boro women's volleyball talk, as I'm now joined by the head women's volleyball coach here in the Boro, Missy Soboleski. Coach, unbelievable, just another weekend, 4-0 at the crossover action. Won in all straight sets to move to another 10-match winning streak for this season. How much stock do you put into that, though, knowing that it is the Eastern Division and knowing that they're just a little bit inferior to the Western opponents you see night in and night out?
Well, you know, I actually think the East side, the East Division, is getting stronger from top to bottom. So every team that we play, we really have to make sure that we go after them and we really take care of our side of the ball. You know, Westchester I thought was pretty good. They have a couple of really nice players, but we were just able to handle them pretty well and played our game. And they couldn't get us out of our game, and we pretty much took them out of theirs. So
certainly the first match of that crossover, you faced Cheney, a team that's struggling in the Eastern Division. But an opportunity like that gives you the chance to play some individuals that don't get a lot of time. Maria Konchek got a lot of time, Katie Felix, players that haven't seen a lot of the court this season. How important is it to get them experience this year, but also be able to rest the players that have been seeing a lot of time, especially this deep into the season?
It's nice to be able to play our players that way. You know, we did get a bunch of the freshmen that haven't played. You know, the Petrus twins got to play. Morgan got to play a lot. You know, Katie, Maria, Bree got to play a lot. So it's nice that they can, that they get to get in there, and there's not a lot of pressure in that game. You know, but again, I don't really like seeing a team like Cheney. You know, I mean, I don't like that program is the level that it's at. They do have a coach that's newer, and they're actually better than what they've ever have been. They can score their own points now. So, but you know, back to us, it is nice to be able to play everybody.
Gotcha. So now the 4-0 crossover action continuing into that 10-match winning streak. Like I said, 23-2 overall. The type keeps saying best start. You're 25 matches into the season. I think the start's over by now. Yeah. But how happy are you that 23-2, only 1 loss in the PSAC? How pleased are you with the squad right now?
I'm really pleased with them. I just want them to. I just keep telling them honestly, just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the sport that you have so much passion for and that you love, and you get to come in and day out and compete at a nice high level in our own gym, and it's just the girls are enjoying themselves. I've never seen them so relaxed and really loving the sport. I loved the picture that they put up of Shalyn down on her knees with that smile on her face on the website. That is what you want your players to look like when they're playing. She was so happy, and it was so nice to see that. And the rest of our players just playing that relaxed and just enjoying the sport.
I'm glad you brought that picture up because it's going to allow me to transition to something else. Student assistant coach Haley Merritt's sticking around as well. She's one of the best liberos in program history. Just wrapped up her playing days. Your coach, I don't think none is up. She's right in the pocket on match night. What does she do for this? How happy to have you for this season?
Well, I gave her a job on the sideline where she's calling out what the other hitters are going to be doing. So she has to, and I look at her, I'm like, every single time the ball is being ready to serve, you have to tell them what the other people are going to be doing. So she's vocal and she's in it and she loves it. And the girls love that she's so passionate about it. It's great to have her around. She wants to be in coaching, and I actually think she's got the right mentality and personality to be a coach. So hopefully she'll continue that on as she goes on in her career.
Her teams will definitely be cheerful and loud.
Yes.
That's for certain, a Haley Merritt-led squad. So now moving forward, especially looking ahead right at this weekend, Cal Friday, Seton Hill Saturday, 2 solid teams coming into Macomb Fieldhouse.
You hit the nail on the head.
What is your mentality when they come into town?
We just need to be ready to play. We got to play our game. We got to focus on our side of the court. And just the same things just the basics, control that first ball. If we can control the first contact, we can side out with anybody. So they're going to have to try to stop us if we can stay in system. And, obviously we're going to try to defend them a certain way, channel the balls in certain directions that we want it to go. But, both those teams are solid teams, like you said, and we got to be ready to play some good volleyball.
Now looking down the road a little bit more, just a few more matches at home in Macomb Fieldhouse in your short stay there at the regular season. How do you get the ladies who have already had that 23-2 record to their ledger finish strong, not maybe overlook teams down the stretch, especially maybe if you already have qualified for the conference tournament? How do you keep them motivated to that very last play date in the regular season leading into the conference tournament?
We have a routine, and we have our structure and the way that we run things, and every week we take that first opponent and we focus on that first opponent that we have on Friday, and we just focus on that team. And then Saturday, obviously Friday night, we have to quickly prepare them for Saturday's match. But we just look at one match at a time. And like I said, I want them to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it. They want to enjoy it. And there's really no negatives for us right now. I don't feel like the girls are struggling. I think they're enjoying the ride so far.
Certainly, one match at a time, one opponent at a time, and as you and a lot of other players say, you got it down to the first 5 points, to the first 10 points.
That's exactly right.
It's a science for Boro women's volleyball, and everyone, including coaches, are rocket scientists because 23-2, they're doing all right this year. Coach, congratulations on the success, and good luck this weekend and the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Scott Sports Show continues along after this. Don't go anywhere. Congratulations to Jake Sisson and Ashley Mutkus for being named this week's Male and Female Scots of the Week. Sisson had a career-high 364 passing yards and a career-high 5 passing touchdowns in Edinboro's 49-42 loss to Gannon a week ago. Additionally, had 1 rushing touchdown and ran in a 2-point conversion. Mike Fenner and I sat down with Jake earlier this week in studio to talk to him about that performance. Talking with our Edinboro University Scots of the Week. Now I'm Tyler Trumbauer, to my immediate right, joined by Burrell Football play-by-play voice Mike Fenner. And to the far side, our Male Scot of the Week, Edinboro Fighting Scots football starting quarterback Jake Sisson, this week's Male Scot of the Week winner. Jake, congratulations for that accolade and obviously getting that award for your performance at the Gannon Golden Knights last week. Unfortunately, a 49-42 loss, but individually, 364 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, both career highs. Rushing touchdown, ran in a 2-point conversion. What do you make of your individual statistics that night?
It's just it was a good night for me. Got rolling early and I kept it on. And really, you can't get all those stats without your entire team helping out. You need the offensive line to block. Got your receivers catching your passes for you, running backs running the ball to keep keeping the balance in there. So, it was a good night, and unfortunately we couldn't pull the W there.
Certainly, you mentioned you need receivers to throw to. One of them, which you kind of frequented that night, was Alex Caratelli having a career night himself. Was there like a pinky promise made before the game that you were going to throw the ball to him all the time, or what? How did that happen?
It's just how the defense kind of played it out. I mean, they gave us multiple looks, and a lot of times, Massey's been such a big threat for us early on. They were bracket covering him, and Alex got all these one-on-one coverages, and he's just a better playmaker than a lot of the other DBs in the league, and I would take him over almost anybody in the league. And so, you know, just kind of how it happened, you know, made some adjustments, and you know, he made plays for us too. So, you know, he did a great job.
Jake, a game like the Cal game earlier this season and then this past week against Gannon, how much does that show the progress of your passing game between you, the receivers, offensive line protecting, running game getting going? How much has that shown the progress of your offense from what we saw earlier on in the season?
You know, I think it shows a lot of progress. You know, we just keep getting better each week, and the thing is now we just got to keep these games going back to back, because we've had games where we've had like the Cal and the Gannon game, and then we've dropped back and, you know, have not had such good performances overall. So we just got to keep this momentum going and just keep improving.
Certainly for you as not just a player on the field, but a leader overall. We've heard guys come and sit on this chair like Darren Massey that has lauded you for your leadership. How do you feel in your first full year of this being your starting gig that you've progressed as a leader on this football team?
You know, I feel like I've progressed quite a bit. I mean, last year, you know, I started one game, and that was against Slippery Rock, and Cody Harris was the man, and he was the guy. I looked up to him. And this, you know, I try to step up. I've tried to become much more of a talkative leader than I have in the past. And, you know, I feel like we've been improving every week that I've been stepping it up more and more. So just keep it going more from there.
Keep it going for these final 4 contests that Edinboro football has. Jake Sisson, this week's Male Scot of the Week. Also, congratulations to Ashley Mutkus of the women's soccer team. She had 2 goals and 1 assist in Edinboro's pivotal 4-1 victory over Kutztown last Saturday in snowy conditions in a big PSAC women's soccer win at Sox Harrison Stadium. Congratulations to both Ashley and Jake. Now let's take a look at what is upcoming for Edinboro student athletes. Thursday night football, the last time for the 2015 season. Mercyhurst comes on in at 6 o'clock for the Fighting Scots Fighting Cancer football game. And then on Friday starts a back-to-back home volleyball matches for the volleyball team. They host Cal at 7 o'clock on Friday and Seton Hill at 4 p.m. on Saturday. But before that Saturday contest, Cross Country, who we just talked to earlier this show, has the PSAC Championships at SRU. And then also women's soccer hosts East Stroudsburg at 1. So be sure to go out and support Edinboro's student athletes. That's all the show we have for this week. Thanks for watching, and go Boro.